Hi friends from around the world. Here we are again with our patent issue. Now I told you that the unitary patent is not yet ready to go live. So therefore I will not go into the details of that one. I leave it up to the moment when it goes live, then I will present it to you on how to react in a convenient way and to profit from it. So that is not the moment. I will go over some other issues which have nothing to do with that development, with the unitary patent, neither with the Unified Patent Court. So these are timeless issues, and I will present them to you as they come to my mind. Now, today we have the Standard Essential Patents, or SEPs. You may have heard of Standard Essential Patents, right? You know, well, you have come across of them at least. You may not know exactly what it is, but you may have come across, and you have a certain idea probably of what this can be. So they are present all over in your devices. So one of the big application for standard, the big presence of Standard Essential Patents in technology are in the communication devices, your tablet, your smartphone, your computer, etc. They are full of Standard Essential Patents. So if you grab in the morning your smartphone and look into, I don't know, using Wi-Fi, for example, that is a Standard Essential Patent. Or you send an email or WhatsApp to somebody, well, that is, or you look for a video that is compressed through Standard Essential Patents. Though they are quite everywhere. Now, what is it exactly? Is it something which is being granted by the EPO or by the US Patent Office or by the government agency or the government as such, the Ministry of, Research or whatever? No, naturally not. It is something, it is, so to say, well, there are some Standard Development Organization, SDOs, or Standard Setting Organization, SSOs, out there. What are these? These are non-governmental organizations. They are membership-driven, or they are leadership-driven. I would say they are differently organized. So they are just as NGO. They are organized a bit as they want. There is no standard organization. You have to organize in this way, or you have to be that way. No, it is not. There's a certain framework they have to respect. There is some, interconnection with competition, with public procurement law, or with trade. So they have to operate within a certain framework. But is it driven, or is it animated by its members? And members are industry representatives. Industry representatives mostly with some skin in the game, with patents, and more often than not, with a portfolio of Standard Essential Patents. So you think of the usual suspects, right? That is, Qualcomm, that is Apple, that is Huawei, ZTE, that is Xiaomi, that is, all the Microsoft. These are all the big players which are naturally in. Well, they have a portfolios of 2,000, 3,000 patents. Why not? Or more. So these players are there, but other players as well. So everybody may have a certain interest, although it is a small company, but may have a certain interest, or has something which could be qualified as a Standard Essential Patent. So they are in there. So there are a lot of these kind of organizations, SDO or SSO. Some may pop up here on the screen meanwhile I'm speaking. So these organizations, they may be organized as per region, as per the industry, geographical. They may cooperate with, a European may cooperate with an American and Asian. And so these are structures which are not put into stone, not really government controlled. They are monitored by government, and they talk to government, yes, but the government does not really go into their business. Now, what happens in these SDO or SSOs? Well, they got a discussion, and the discussion is driven by one of the members, and they have an assembly of the members, and one presented, well, this should be a standard essential patent. Standard essential patent, what does that mean? That is not a qualification which must, this exact standard must have. No, it is something which is being needed for interoperability. So in order to speak to other devices from companies, so a smartphone may come from Apple, may come from Huawei, or may come from Xiaomi or from Samsung, right? So, but they have to talk together, right? And if you want to have something on the USB, so USB is a standard essential patent. In fact, there are some 150,000 standard essential patents out there live, actually. So it is quite a lot. So I don't know, smartphone may have 1,000 patents, out of which there are, I don't know how many standard essential patents involved. Now, how is it being adopted? That was my issue here. Well, somebody from industry representative on the basis of a patent they have, and they have developed, and they have looked around with regard to interoperability of this patent with others, and it worked out very well, and it has become something. If you want to have that function, you need that patent. If you want to have that function without that patent, there's no way to go. You can't go around, you can't work around these standard essential patents. No, that is one gateway. You take it or you leave it. So these are standard essential patents, and they are proposed by industry representatives within these SSO or SDOs. And then they are, so to say, voted for. It is normally a consensus building that the industry representatives within that SSO or SDO, they agree on that is a standard essential patent. It gets a number and a description. It has to be described, etc. And then it is out there as a standard essential patent. So is it everybody wants standard essential patents? Because if you have a patent, you can license it out at what any royalty you want, because there's no way to work around, right? Now, the patent as such, you have to understand, is a trade-off between society and the individual. So the interest of the society is to get implemented very quickly that new patent, that essential patent, well, any patent anyway, in order to improve society. Patent is innovation, right? And innovation is good. So society want to innovate. So they want to bring this to the market so that the market can evolve and society can benefit from this innovation. Now, on the other part, you have the individual patent owner, which has an interest, to have a return of investment, right? ROE. So they want to get as much out of it as they can during a period of 20 years where they have the monopoly. 20 years, patent, 20 years, right? So there is a contradiction between one and the other, and how is being made the trade-off. Well, there is compulsory. The SEP comes with a drawdown, which is compulsory license, meaning that the one who has the standard essential patents, they cannot avoid offering a license agreement to somebody who wants it. So they can, well, you may say, well, I cannot avoid it to license out, but I put it at a price which nobody accepts, so it would be the same. So there is a second issue to that compulsory license. It must be on friend terms, and that has been developed by the case law. There is one important, you may have heard of it, important judgment from the European Court of Justice, that is Huawei against ZTE. So European Court of Justice, and there were two Chinese companies, one against the other, and it was a landmark judgment with regard to friend, the friend terms, F-R-A-N-D, right? Friend. So what does that friend terms mean? Friend means fair, meaning it must be not connected to unrelated items, for example. It must be reasonable. So reasonable would mean that, for example, that the royalty would be according to what the market normally would give to that license, and non-discriminatory. So friend, fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory. Non-discriminatory is clear as well. If you license out one standard essential patents to company X for 5,000, you cannot charge the company Y 6,000. So you have to license out on equal terms so that the competition cannot be distorted, right? So this is clear so far. There's no discussion about it. The discussion starts then when what is friend in detail. So I lined it out here in general terms, that is clear, but in detail it is far from clear. So there's a lot of case law on it, on how to interpret the friend terms. And there is this landmark judgment, ZTE against Huawei, where the European Court of Justice lines out how negotiation should take place between the licensor and licensee. So how to react to an offer, and within which time frame, and what is the counter offer. It must be reasonable, etc. Otherwise, so you enter, if you don't go according to these negotiation rules, then you get into trouble. And what are these negotiation rules, and what is the other, what is around that on friend? It is rather common sense. So you wouldn't, if you read this judgment, you will see, well, it is a kind of common sense, and that is how a judgment should interpret law, right? The common sense. So the intuition would not deceive you in going that way. You're doing right. It's a good business practice, right? Good business practice has to be followed, and then you would follow also the friend terms. But still, there are a lot of difficulties. What is the value of a patent? So the value of a patent is often declared in court, and you have to go through, I don't know how many instances, or you have to, the judge will call the forensic accountant, and you hear forensic accountant, and already, well, the invoice will go through the roof. So the settlement probably is a good idea in order not to be punished afterwards by the high invoice. So my point here is, you should know, you have heard of standard essential patents, and now you're a start-up or so, and you have a patent, you have an initial patent, and you need probably a kind of standard essential patent in order to make function your device, to make it interoperable with other devices out there, and then you have what is the full potential of your patent. And if it is a standard essential patent, you know how to deal with it on friend terms. You have the right to be a licensee on fair, reasonable and non-discriminatory terms. Now there's one additional issue I want to mention, which is the pool. So often you say, or I have said so far, you go to that one who is the license holder and you start to negotiate with them. That is not anymore possible because well, there are so many patents out there, and if you want to discuss between one and the other, you have 1,000 patents within a smartphone if you want to. So the pool is could be a private company which buys patents from others, from patent holders, and they put them into packages, or they rent out, so they license out the certain patents or kind of patents or lot of patent or patent packages from companies and have them in their portfolio. Now, being in their portfolio, they may have 10,000 patents in their portfolio, and you want something which need, I don't know, the 10 patents because it's a classic package what you need, and they may have it. And the fact that you want the 10 ones and there's a package that makes it quite easy for you in order to get to the license and to produce immediately or use the license immediately for your product on one hand, and on the other it is cheaper than to go individually to the different patent owners. So that is what I wanted to tell you. I'm a bit better on time now. Thank you.